Inflation. It's a word that strikes fear into the hearts of shoppers and sends economists scrambling for their calculators. But what exactly it? In the simplest terms, inflation is when things get more expensive. Imagine your favorite candy bar used to cost $1. Suddenly it's $1.50. That, my friends, is inflation in action. Your dollar just doesn't stretch as far as it used to. Think of it like this. Your money is slowly losing its superpowers. It's like that sad moment in a superhero movie when the hero realizes their powers are fading. Except in this case, the hero is your wallet and the villain is inflation. But why do prices go up? Well, it's rarely just one thing. It's more like a perfect storm of economic factors. We'll dive into those next, but just remember, inflation is about more than just a few extra cents here and there. It's a sign of something bigger happening in the economy. So, buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to take a wild ride on the inflation roller coaster. Now let's shine a light on those sneaky culprits behind inflation. One major suspect is something called demand pull inflation. This happens when everyone wants the same things, like the latest gadget or a hot concert ticket. When demand is high and supply is low, businesses can raise prices. Think of it like trying to get the last slice of pizza at a party. You might be willing to pay a premium for it. Another villain in our inflation story is cost push inflation. This happens when it costs more for businesses to make or provide things. Maybe the price of raw materials has gone up, or there's a shortage of something important like computer chips. And when businesses have to pay more to produce their goods, they often pass those costs along to consumers in the form of higher prices. But wait, there's more. Sometimes inflation can be triggered by government policies. If the government prints too much money, it can lead to inflation, because there's more money circulating, but the same amount of goods and services. It's like adding more players to a game of Monopoly. Everyone has more money, but the properties stay the same, so prices go up. So, you see, inflation is a complex beast with many heads. But by understanding the root causes, we can start to make sense of its impact on our lives. Here's where the rubber meets the road, folks. Inflation isn't just an abstract economic concept. It's something we feel in our wallets every single day. Remember that $1.50 candy bar? That's just the tip of the iceberg. Inflation affects the price of pretty much everything. From the food we eat to the gas we put in our cars. Let's start with groceries. Remember when eggs were considered an affordable breakfast staple? Well, thanks to inflation, they've become a luxury item for some. The same goes for meat, dairy, and even fruits and vegetables. Suddenly that weekly grocery run is putting a serious dent in your budget. And don't even get me started on gas prices. It's like every time you fill up your tank, you're emptying your wallet. High gas prices don't just affect drivers. They ripple through the economy, impacting the cost of shipping goods and even the prices of plane tickets. Thanks, inflation, for making it more expensive to get around. Section 4, Inflation's Bite Real-Life Examples. So let's talk about Sarah. She's a single mom trying to make ends meet. Last year, she could comfortably afford to buy groceries, pay her rent, and occasionally treat her kids to pizza night. But lately, things have been tough. Her grocery bill has skyrocketed, her rent went up, and pizza night, well, that's a distant memory. Then there's John, a retiree living on a fixed income. He's always been careful with his money, but inflation is eating away at his savings. The cost of his medications has gone up, and he's had to cut back on social outings and even groceries to make ends meet. These are just two examples of how inflation impacts real people every day. It erodes our purchasing power, making it harder to afford the things we need and enjoy. And for those living on the margins, inflation can be downright devastating. Section 5. Taming the inflation beast. What can governments do? So, how do we fight back against this inflation monster? Well, it's not as simple as spraying it with monster repellent, unfortunately. Governments and central banks have a few tools in their arsenal, but it's a delicate balancing act. One powerful weapon is interest rates. Think of interest rates like the brakes on the economy. When inflation is high, central banks can raise interest rates to cool things down. This makes it more expensive to borrow money, which slows down spending and, in theory, helps to bring prices down. Governments can also try to tackle inflation by controlling spending and managing the money supply. This is like trying to keep the economy from overheating. It's a tricky task, and there's always the risk of doing too much or too little. Section 6, Riding Out the Storm, Tips for Navigating Inflation. While we wait for the economic wizards to work their magic, what can we, mere mortals, do to navigate the choppy waters of inflation? Well, it's time to get savvy with our spending and financial planning. First things first, create a budget and stick to it. Track your spending so you know where your money is going. Look for areas where you can cut back, even if it's just small changes. Every little bit helps. Next, explore ways to stretch your dollar further. Shop around for the best deals on groceries, consider buying generic brands, and cook more meals at home instead of eating out. Finally, don't be afraid to negotiate. Whether it's your cable bill, your cell phone plan, or even your rent, there's often room for negotiation. The worst they can say is no, right? Section 7, Inflation. A part of life's economic roller coaster. Inflation is a fact of life, like taxes and reality TV shows. It's something we have to learn to live with, even when it's a pain in the you-know-what. The good news is that it's not always a bad thing. A little bit of inflation is normal and can even be a sign of a healthy economy. The key is to be prepared. By understanding what causes inflation, how it affects us, and what we can do about it, we can ride out the economic roller coaster with a little more confidence. So, buckle up, stay informed, and remember, we're all in this together.